Welcome to Behind the Masterpiece. I am your host, Brian Hirsch. I happen to be the CEO for the Arts and Cultural Alliance of Sarasota County as well. You can catch all episodes of Behind the Masterpiece by going to visit sarasota.com. And you can also learn all about our guest and the amazing institution that Jennifer Rominiecki leads, the president and CEO of Selby Gardens. Jennifer, welcome to Behind the Masterpiece.
Well, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you and to learn about Jennifer and the amazing, one of Time's world's greatest places. You can always go to selby.org to learn more. So, Jennifer, let's start with this. For those who don't know, who are maybe new or are visiting Sarasota, what's Selby Gardens and how did it come to be?
Absolutely. Well, Marie Selby Botanical Gardens is one organization with two campuses. We have the downtown Sarasota campus, and then we have the historic Spanish Point campus 10 miles south. And basically, everything we do at both sites is about providing bayfront sanctuaries that connect people to air plants of the world, native nature, and our regional history. So everything we do at both sites connects with that. And, we have Marie Selby to thank, who in 1971, when she passed away, she decided to leave her downtown property to become a botanical garden for everyone to enjoy. And over the last 50 years, that's developed and grown into two campuses and 45 acres of bayfront sanctuaries.
And it's stunning and beautiful, hence Time magazine, some of the world's greatest places right here in Sarasota County. So one of those original things that you can see at a botanical garden, Jennifer, of course, are the remarkable plant programs and such a variety of things that a lot of people haven't experienced, from the epiphytes and orchids and bromeliads and a whole host of staff, scientists who are really leading this research that people can also see and experience. Can you tell us just a little bit about the nature and sort of the plant programs themselves?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So Marie Selby Botanical Gardens is the only botanical garden in the world to focus on the study of epiphytes, or air plants that grow in the tree canopy instead of the soil, like orchids and bromeliads. And so Selby Gardens' claim to fame is that we have the world's best scientifically documented collections of orchids and bromeliads. So if you want to see orchids or bromeliads, you need to come to Selby Gardens to do so. And so over Selby Gardens' 50-year history, our scientists have discovered or described more than 2,000 species for science. So yes, we are a public institution and there's lots to enjoy in connecting with nature, but we also do incredible botanical research behind the scenes, and we are a Smithsonian affiliate.
Love these things. We're talking to Jennifer Rominiecki, the president and CEO of Marie Selby Botanical Gardens. You can always go to selby.org to learn more. She was just talking to us about the remarkable plant programs that are happening at Selby Garden. But one of the things that Jennifer has brought to Selby is sort of this living museum experience as well. And not only are these stunning and beautiful, sometimes rare plants, sometimes plants that might only bloom once in I don't know, there's lots of different ones that sort of bloom every now and then in a special way. But you've got some amazing exhibitions, and you often have art involved. Right now, you've got two remarkable exhibitions, George Harrison's A Gardener's Life, and then you've got something from your artist in resident, Patti Smith, again. So can you tell us a little bit about how you've brought exhibitions into the space in this museum, and then maybe a little bit more about these exhibitions as well?
Terrific. So when I arrived in Sarasota 10 years ago, I noticed that people would say, I've been to Selby Gardens, as if it's beautiful, but that they didn't have a reason to come back. And so we instituted what we're calling the Living Museum operating model, for which we have a trademark. And it's the idea of operating just as traditional art museums do, with changing exhibits, programs, and events to garner repeat visitation and always give you a reason to come back. And so we've embarked on this really innovative series of exhibitions looking at major artists through the lens of their connection to nature in our botanical garden setting. So, what's on view right now at the downtown Sarasota campus through the end of June is George Harrison, A Gardener's Life. Now, many people know George Harrison as the iconic lead guitarist of the Beatles and, certainly as an icon of the rock world. Well, in 1970, when the Beatles broke up, George Harrison purchased a derelict Victorian era estate outside of London and spent the whole rest of his life personally gardening it, restoring it, and recording all of his solo music there. He also considered himself just a gardener, which is what he told Rolling Stone magazine. And he even dedicated his autobiography, I Me Mine, to gardeners everywhere. So we're really excited to look at this major artist through the lens of his connection to nature in our botanical garden setting. And when you come to the gardens, you'll see images of George Harrison creating his gardens, which have never been seen by the public before. And you will also see interdisciplinary horticultural installations. You'll hear George's music. You'll see poetry by his widow, Olivia Harrison. And you'll even see George Harrison's home movies of him building his gardens. And so we're really excited to tell this story, which has really never been told as a major exhibit before.
That is pretty cool, no doubt, to be so iconic. And then I love the just a gardener sort of piece as well, right? So, so down to earth in a way.
Yes.
But yeah, showing a special musician and historian in so many ways. And I love it. Again, doing something that's never been done. So if you're a leader in epiphytes, a leader in exhibitions for, people connected to the natural world and art. But Patti Smith is also a remarkable figure who's spent a little bit of time at Selby Gardens. What's she doing with you this year?
Yes. So Patti Smith is, such an icon. She really has been at the forefront of so many different disciplines, between rock and punk to poetry and writing. She's really a multi-hyphenate artist. And she is Selby Gardens artist in residence and has performed at Selby Gardens 6 times, and we're already planning her return. But right now, on view at our historic Spanish Point campus is an exhibition entitled A Book of Days, which connects with her recent publication, A Book of Days. And what you'll see on view at our historic Spanish Point campus is Patti Smith's photography connected to nature and blown up on aluminum and sighted outdoors in the natural landscape. And so it's really a wonderful way to view works of art with sighted in the landscape instead of in a traditional gallery setting. And it's a very immersive exhibit. You get to be outdoors to view the photography. And then you can also pick up Patti Smith's book, which is really a book she published based on her Instagram account. And all the photos that she posts, fairly often. It sort of came out of the pandemic for her and ended up being a really wonderful book that she recently published.
This doesn't all happen overnight. There's always a lot of planning that takes place, and that's something you're really, really working on as you plan the future as well. You've got quite a remarkable master plan. Some of it has almost more recently become unveiled and really actualized. Can you tell us a little bit about sort of the master plan and the phases, but also just such a commitment to sustainability and how you're leading the way with that as well, Jennifer?
Yes, wonderful. So, we're thrilled to be realizing the master plan for Selby Gardens downtown Sarasota campus. And the first phase of the project opened in January 2024, and we're now embarking on the second phase. And the first phase resulted in Selby Gardens becoming the world's first net positive energy botanical garden complex, meaning that we're generating more energy than consumed. And so, with phase one's opening, we created what we're calling our Living Energy Access Facility, which houses parking, a garden to plate restaurant called the Green Orchid. It's actually the first net positive energy restaurant in the world. A new gift shop, but the kicker is that it has a 50,000 square foot solar array on the roof. The first phase also includes a new welcome center with a welcome gallery and a new plant research center to house all of our preserved research collections and research activities, including our rare books dating to the 1600s. And so all of that is now open to the public. And as a result, we were named to Time Magazine's World's Greatest Places. The Wall Street Journal named us to the Best Architecture of 2024. And recently, Travel and Leisure gave us a Global Vision Award for this really cutting edge sustainability. So now with phase two, we're embarking on that and breaking ground at the end of this year, 2025, with completion expected by the end of 2027. And we are creating a cutting edge, sustainable glass house complex for all of our living research collections, which include more than 20,000 living plants, including our world famous collections of orchids and bromeliads. In addition, there will be an indoor outdoor learning pavilion adjacent to the glasshouse complex and lots of new garden features. So really overnight, Selby Gardens has become an international model for sustainability. And in a way, it was great that we had never fixed up our infrastructure, because now we're doing it in the most cutting edge green way. And really, we've become a leader overnight, and we're excited to realize the rest of the project.
It's not just exciting, it's really quite inspiring. And it's always, I think, as prideful as Sarasota is to really be able to call Marie Selby Gardens part of Sarasota and Sarasota County to be leading the way. So thanks for that leadership, Jennifer. Not only are there remarkable plants that you can see at both of these campuses, incredible exhibitions, it's beautiful and stunning. And this commitment to sustainability, powered by incredible researchers and staff, but it's also powered in another way. You have a lot of volunteers that are really part of this story. How do people get involved? How can they be part of supporting and being engaged and involved with Selby Botanical Gardens?
So volunteers have been critical to Selby Gardens since our founding. And we have about 80 employees, but about 800 volunteers. And it's an incredible workforce that contributes about $2 million in contributed labor annually to Selby Gardens' operating budget. And we have volunteers that work in every area of the gardens, from greeting guests and interacting in that way to actually working behind the scenes on our plant research collections and, kind of facilitating operations. So we always need more volunteers, I can tell you that. And, anyone can sign up at selby.org to become a volunteer, and we welcome that. We have, again, volunteers participate in every area of our operation.
All right, Jennifer, I've got one last question. There's lots of different ways people can come. They can choose the exhibits. They can become a member so they can come repeatedly. Love the living museum aspect. You have special events from time to time, and they're very seasonal, so amazing things that happen in the winter. But Mother's Day is not far around the corner. You've become like a real destination and hype for Mother's Day as well. Can you tell us what's happening there? And you're welcome to tell us about any other special events that might be coming up.
Wonderful. So yes, we are a coveted destination on Mother's Day. And every year we have a wonderful Mother's Day brunch. So I encourage everyone to bring their mothers out to enjoy the gardens and brunch. And tickets are available on our website at selby.org. And there are lots of other events, between concerts at both of our campuses to performing arts. Lots of things happening in conjunction with both of our exhibitions. So I encourage you to check out all of our special programming at selby.org. There's lots happening.
Yeah, no doubt. Very classic for Sarasota. Always something to do, always something to do. This is why it's a living museum, right? There's just always something that's living and thriving, from plants to people, at Selby Gardens. So Jennifer Rominiecki, the president and CEO of Selby Gardens, Marie Botanical Selby Gardens. You can always go to selby.org to learn more. I'm your host, Brian Hirsch, from Behind the Masterpiece. You can always go to listen to this podcast on visitsarasota.com. Jennifer, thanks so much for being on Behind the Masterpiece.
Thanks so much. A pleasure to be here.
Awesome. All right. Until next time, peace. Thanks for listening to this episode of Behind the Masterpiece, brought to you by Visit Sarasota County. For more and to hear this podcast, go to visitsarasota.com.